Let's have a discussion on how to stop idealization in homoerotic friendships. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I've been counseling men and women who have experienced abuse as well as those who have been perpetrators of abuse for many years now. I did a series a while back on homoeroticism, and I did the first one on female relationships, and I also did one in male relationships, and different versions of that. And so I have a question from a commenter. He or she says, "Hey, I saw your video on homoeroticism and female friendships. I was wondering if you could make a video how to stop idealization when on the other end of the friendship. Yes, your videos are amazing." Thank you. So every situation is different, so I'll give some general advice here without knowing the situation. But in my experience, when there's homoeroticism in the friendship, that it's starting to take on a sort of a pathological turn where you're starting to feel jealous and possessive over your friend. You're fighting. You have this attraction, but you haven't necessarily disclosed that. My advice would, my take on it is, typically when this happens, not always, but typically when this happens, it is because you're spending way too much time together. There's way too much one-on-one time together. You guys, you guys are starting to call each other for every single thing, and before you know it, a lot of people are just spending time with that one person. My advice is to spread yourself around, include other people, and take some distance with that friend. You want to pump the brakes a little bit. If you are the one that's starting to feel jealous, possessive, pump the brakes a little bit and take a step back and start to spend time with other friends, and occupy yourself in that way, because when you spread yourself around, you're not just so zeroed in on one person, because when you zero in on one person, you start to feel like that person is my everything. Oh, they're my confidant, they're my friend, I'm attracted to them, they spend money on me, and all this other kind of stuff. It's because you become way too consumed with that person's energy and with their life, and not focusing on yourself. So I think that's the other thing, is focusing on yourself, but also dialing it back a little bit and spending time in other connections, doing other things with other people, and sort of, pumping the brakes and saying, you know what, I want to get a handle on myself. I've got some stuff I need to work on here. I think that's the other thing. I think the next thing is to be honest with yourself about what's really going on. When I originally did the post, I talked about homoeroticism and heterosexual female friendships. And so in heterosexual female friendships, I spoke on that because they are not likely to outwardly identify with being homosexual or having, feelings of attraction or love for another person in that way. So I think you may want to be honest with yourself. I know a few of the people were talking on the other post, and they were saying, oh, I experienced this early on before I came out, this and that. And so if you're able to just sort of think about whether or not, am I having same sex, same gender attraction, and what is it about this person that I'm attracted to so much, or what is it about this person that I like so much? Because sometimes it can be just genuine bona fide attraction, like physical attraction, and thinking this person is a good person and all that kind of good stuff. But a lot of the times it's what this person represents in you that you are not comfortable with yet. Like you are You are idealizing aspects of them that you haven't been able to get in touch with yourself. So for an example, your friend may be outwardly gay and be free and comfortable to do that, and just living life and feels freedom and doesn't have any sort of qualms about, being her true authentic self. And maybe that's what you want more of, or you covet that, but you don't necessarily have the words to. It's like, oh, I just wish that I can be free to be myself. And she could do that so freely, and I want that, and I'm so attracted to that. And I also hate that about her too, It's like that envy, but I hate her. I admire her, but I hate her about that too. So you need to be honest with yourself about that and what it is that you seek to have in yourself, and deal with your own insecurities. No, your friend cannot help you do that. They cannot help you deal with your own insecurities. That is something that you have to deal with on your own. You can deal with it with a licensed professional. Everybody's situation is different. That's why I say you may want to contact a licensed professional, because you might be insecure because of who your family is, because of who you were, because of being raised in a religion, because of where you live, what you do for work. I don't know. Everyone's situation is a little bit different. So you may want to learn how to deal with your insecurities and see what's keeping you from being the most authentic version of yourself. And that's one thing that I would recommend there. And then also think about who is the woman or the person that you need to be. Like, what is it that you need to do, or what is it that you need to embody to become the most authentic version of yourself. And if you feel like there's nothing you can do, I can never be authentic, I have to always be performative, we have to, I would recommend a mental health professional to break down or help you with deconstructing that, just taking a deeper look at that for whatever your situation is. Respect your friends' boundaries. So if your friend is telling you, what, you're a bit too much, or I'm kind of moving in this direction with other relationships, respect your friends' boundaries. You can have a conversation if you want to be honest, and but you have to also respect that whether or not your friend feels safe enough to go there with you or not, because some of the stuff I was reading was getting rather pathological. Like some of the women were talking about getting physical and all this other kind of stuff. So it depends on how far the line has been pushed, but you have to respect your friends' boundaries, but give space, balance the time, spend time with other people, and work on yourself and work on embracing who you are at your core. Also, one of the things that you may want to find a little bit more balance is all or nothing thinking. Like, we're either everything or we're nothing, because that's kind of where it can get when things become pathological. It's like we're either everything or nothing. Check your ego, because it can be a little narcissistic too. Everything is not always about you. Unless you have children, another grown adult does not always have to report to you, especially when they are a friend. You have to respect that your friend has her own life, her own family, and yes, you might be a part of her life, but you are not the boss of your friend. And also, you don't have to try to clutch so tightly that you're controlling the dynamic of the relationship. Just allow each person to be themselves and show up authentically. I hope that helps. Thanks so much.